Well, guys, it's now time for my Week 11 picks of the 2021 NFL season. Last time we left off in Week 10, oh God, I went 6-7-1. Dang, the Steelers-Lions tie, so I couldn't stay at 500 as I've had terrible weeks back-to-back and my second straight losing season to start off the week. This year. Oh God, 7-9 week 1 and then 6-7-1 this last week. Definitely not good. As of course, thank you for dying again, computer. As here is the current regular season stands and the playoff stands at the season of the day. In the AFC, it's the Titans with the bye, with Chargers at Bills, Patriots at Ravens, and Steelers at Chargers. Steelers at Chiefs, I mean to say. And in the NFC, it's the Packers with the bye, with Panthers at Cardinals, Saints at Cowboys, and Rams at Buccaneers. And my Super Bowl pick right now would be the Bills over the Packers, just like last week. Alright, so now let's get into my Week 11 picks. As we start off with a big one too, our conference for Thursday night, as the Patriots are at the Falcons for the first time since 2013. Patriots have won the last 5. The Falcons haven't beaten them since 1998 and they haven't won at home since 1995. So, of course, the Patriots have now won 4 in a row as they crushed the Browns as they are 1 win away from matching their win total from last year. And hey, right now, in the playoff race, unlike last year, as they're looking really scary right now. Their offense is now looking solid in terms of points, as you can see, and defense still looking really good. They could maybe start considering being a challenge to the Bills right now for that division because they still have to play their 2 games against each other. Meanwhile, the Falcons got obliterated by the Cowboys. I guess that momentum from the Cowboys comeback they had last year just kept on going as they got destroyed, like 43-3, I think it was. Absolute debacle in that one. As, of course, their rematch from the Super Bowl, although they already had their first rematch 4 years ago. And, of course, Patriots returned to the Falcons after that. And, of course, returned to Atlanta after they won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. This could go either way. They should not underestimate the Falcons as they are within 500. They're trying to have a better season last year. But I'm going to pick the Patriots for this one. So then we get to Sunday games as the big one, too, in the wild card part on the NFC, as the Saints are at the Eagles for the first time since 2015. As the Saints won the last one, the Eagles haven't beaten them since 2015. And, of course, the Saints have not won in Philadelphia since 2009. Let me add that in. So, of course, the Saints blew it again against the Titans when they should have honestly won. They should be 7-2 right now, but they've lost all their games like really close margins at the end of the games. That's not looking good for them. Meanwhile, the Eagles have now matched their win total as they pretty much spanked the Broncos as they're right there in the mix for at least a wild card spot. Like 1 win away from being right there, and that would be a big one against the Saints for a tiebreaker. Although the Saints are better and both their games were lost on a close margin, I'm actually going to pick the Eagles in an upset. And watch, I'm going to have cake thrown in my face as the Saints win it somehow. Then we get to our Tank Bowl, as the Dolphins are at the Jets. As the Dolphins won the last 2, the Jets haven't beaten them since 2019. So, of course, the Dolphins, in an absolutely dominant performance against the Ravens, beat them, as now they've won 2 in a row. And hey, maybe looking like they could, if a win here, maybe they can salvage their terrible start and get right back in the playoff mix. It's right there still. Meanwhile, the Jets, of course, got crushed by the Bills to nobody's surprise. As even Flacco's going to be starting now. As, oh God, the Jets defense looks bad. Dolphins look bad. Although the Dolphins statistically in terms of offense got a little bit better over the last few weeks. But this is probably going to be an ugly, ugly game. But I'm picking the Dolphins for this one. But watch, the Jets are somehow going to get and push the Dolphins back to last place. Then it'll be the football team at the Panthers for the first time since 2019. As the Panthers won the last one, the football team hasn't beaten them since 2009. Ironically enough, Ron Rivera's last game as the Panthers coach, and the Panthers haven't beaten them at home since 2015. So of course, Ron Rivera, round 2, as remember, they got destroyed last year when they played his former team. Now he's got to go down to Carolina, too, against them, as the football team got the revenge on the Buccaneers last week in their wildcard rematch. They played pretty impressively against the Buccaneers, showing that the football team cannot be underestimated despite their terrible start. Meanwhile, the Panthers, I didn't know about this when I made my pick last week, but Cam Newton came back to the team. And how funny enough, his first start back on the Panthers would be against the team he did his first start against, the Cardinals, in 2011. And the Panthers destroyed the Cardinals as they matched their win total last year, on the verge of beating it after, they're having their best season in 3 years, as they're right there in the playoff mix. Maybe Cam could provide just enough spark to just keep them right there in the mix, which would be incredible. They should not underestimate the football team, though. They beat them last time, and of course Riviera might be wanting to get an itching for a rematch again, but I'm going to pick the Panthers for this one. Alright, so now we get to another wild card rematch, as the Colts are at the Bills for the first time since 2015. The Colts won the last one. The Bills haven't beaten them since 2015. The Colts haven't won in Buffalo since 2003. So, the Colts, Matt finally got to 500 again after, at first it looked like it was going to be a destruction of the Jaguars, but then they made a game at the end. So, kind of a little bit of concern for the Colts right there, but hey, they matched their win total now, and they're right in the mix for the wild card. Meanwhile, the Bills absolutely crushed the Jets, as statistically they are the best team in the league, but their 6-3 record's kind of disappointing. If you did not tell me the Bills' record and you showed me those stats, I would say they're at least 9-0 or 8-1 or something like that. But they're 6-3 and kind of disappointing. They need this win badly. So do the Colts too. Now, of course, remember this is a rematch from the wild card last year when the Bills barely held on to beat the Colts. Unfortunately, though, for the Colts, their defense isn't as good. Their offense is getting better since a few weeks ago, but the Bills are still very elite. Now, of course, the Bills should not underestimate the Colts, because we've seen them struggle. Remember, 2 weeks ago, they lost to the freaking Jaguars. So if the Jaguars could beat them, what's to say the Colts couldn't? But I'm still going to pick the Bills for this one, but I won't be surprised if the Colts get it either, especially since we saw what happened 2 weeks ago. Then it's the Lions at the Browns for the first time since 2013, as the Browns won the last, the Lions won the last 4, the Browns haven't beaten them since 2001. So, of course, the Lions finally ended the winless streak. No 0-17, as they managed to hold on and tie the Steelers, although they should have honestly won that one. Pretty disappointed about that, but hey, at least I don't have to worry about 0-17 now, as they're still trying to avoid a 4th straight losing season, though. Meanwhile, the Browns got crushed by the Patriots. That was a huge loss for them, since I don't even think Nick Chubb played too, because I didn't know that, if I remember correctly from last week's picks. That's bad too, because that's a tiebreaker against them, as they're trying to get above 500 again, as this could be a close one if the Browns keep screwing up. They can't keep messing up around, because they're running out of time to keep up in that division playoff race with all the tiebreakers against them. But I'm picking the Browns for this one, but don't underestimate the Lions. You haven't beat them in 20 years. Then it's the 49ers at the Jaguars for the first time since 2013. Technically 2005, since the last time they were in Jacksonville. It was in London, remember. As the 49ers won the last 3, the Jaguars haven't beaten them since 2005. So, the 49ers, of course, humiliated the Rams last Monday night to get back within a game of 500. As the Rams just can't beat the 49ers for some reason. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, after that dominant performance against the Colts, the Bills, they came back to reality against the Colts, which they lost that one. Although they made somewhat close at the end. The 49ers should not underestimate the Jaguars. We saw what they did 2 weeks ago against the Bills. It could happen again. But I'm picking the 49ers for this one. But watch, the Jaguars are going to get it in the end. Alright, so then it's probably the most lopsided game so far this season, as the Texans are at the Titans. The Titans have won the last 3. The Texans haven't beaten them since 2019. As the Texans got, I don't even remember what happened last time. Was it, wouldn't they? Yeah, I think they were playing the Dolphins and they lost that in a defensive struggle. I think they're on their byes. You see their stats. They really are like one of the worst teams in the league. Especially offense. Their offense is just garbage, as they're on the verge of having their 2nd straight losing season. Meanwhile, the Titans are on the verge of having their 6th straight win season, as they beat the Saints too. So, despite not having Derrick Henry, the Titans are still somehow winning games when they should be losing. It's amazing. Beating 2 teams with winning records back to back. That's really good for them, as they're leading the playoff race still right now. I still have doubts they're going to keep this momentum up for long. But they are playing the Texans, who are like the worst team in the league. Definitely the AFC, so I'm going to have to pick the Titans for this one, of course. And then we get to the Packers at the Vikings. The Vikings won the last one. The Packers haven't beaten them since 2020, and the Vikings haven't won at home since 2018, as the Packers are one win away from having their third straight winning season, as they beat the Seahawks in a shutout last week. Although offensively, they just haven't looked really good with Rodgers coming back. It's more defensive. This team is now starting to remind me a lot of 2019 now, where it was mostly defense that got them there, and Aaron Rodgers was like pedestrian in comparison. Meanwhile, the Vikings beat the Chargers in a close game. Hey, they finally won one, a close one for once, as they're one game away from getting 500 again. And this is important because this is like the last chance anyone has in the NFC North to stop the Packers from winning the division. Bears are pretty much too far out of it, plus they lost them already. Lions, if the Packers win or the Lions lose, they're definitely out of contention now. So this one is really important for the Vikings to win this one if they want to have any chance to get that division win. But I'm picking the Packers for this one. Alright, then it's the Ravens at the Bears for the first time since 2013. Bears won the last two. The Ravens haven't beaten them since 2009. And they've never won in Chicago the three times before they went there in 98, 05, and 13. So the Ravens lost to the Dolphins embarrassingly, finally shutting down all the annoying Ravens fans around me. I think the Ravens are great when they're not, as they come back down to reality for a bit, as they needed to. And the Bears, I believe, they were on their bye when they lost to Steelers 2 weeks ago on Monday night. That looked like it was going to be destroyed, but then they all of a sudden made the comeback, but they just could not seal the victory. Very unfortunate. That was like the best performance they had this season, and they just could not get the deal done. So now, of course, the Ravens should not underestimate the Bears. They have not beaten them in over 10 years. They've never won in Chicago, and the Bears still always find some ways to be competitive, so you cannot underestimate them. But I'm going to pick the Ravens for this one. And then we get to the 4 p.m. games with a big one in the AFC, wildcard-wise, as the Bengals are at the Raiders for the first time since 2015. Bengals won the last 3. The Raiders haven't beaten them since 2009, as the Bengals were on their bye after they got crushed by the Browns 2 weeks ago, as they've now lost 2 in a row, and all their momentum they had. Remember 2 weeks ago when they led the AFC number 1 seed? Now they're out of the playoffs at the season end today. How much the season changes is incredible, as they need this win really badly. Meanwhile, the Raiders also need this win really badly, as now they got destroyed by the Chiefs last Sunday night, so now they're out of the playoffs too, if I remember correctly. So yeah, they really do. Both teams need this win to save their season at the moment and stay above 500. As, oh boy, who do you trust more in this scenario? Bengals have like that momentum, but they got deflated. Same goes for the Raiders. I think I might side with the Raiders more, just barely, for them to get this win. Alright, then it's the Cardinals at the Seahawks, as the Seahawks won the last one. The Cardinals haven't beaten them since 2020, and they haven't won in Seattle since 2019, as the Cardinals got destroyed by the Panthers, as I didn't know Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins were still injured. Not looking good there for them. No idea if they're going to be coming back this week. Meanwhile, the Seahawks lost in a shutout to the Packers after Russell Wilson came back. I expected them to lose, but even that was kind of disappointing for them, as Russell Wilson played like garbage. They really need this win badly to stay within the wild card race, as that was a bad loss they took. Now, of course, I think with Russell Wilson back, the Seahawks will finally get back in their momentum because they had to deal with a tough Packers team. The Cardinals, I'm starting to get the feeling right now they're starting to deflate. After that 7-0 start, they've gone 1-2 since, and we saw what happened when they played the Panthers. I have no idea if Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are going to be playing, so I'm going to pick the Seahawks in an upset, as the Cardinals are also, forgot to mention, 1 win away from having their first win in season since 2015. Then a big outer conference matchup, as the Cowboys are at the Chiefs for the first time since 2013. As the Cowboys won the last one, the Chiefs haven't beaten them since 2013. The Cowboys haven't beaten Chiefs haven't beaten them since 2013, my bad. And the Cowboys haven't won in Kansas City since 2009. So the Cowboys 1 win away from having their first non-losing season since 2019, as they destroyed the Falcons, as they now have a better season than last year to keep that momentum up in that terrible division, as they're starting to run away with it and keep that momentum up. Meanwhile, the Chiefs destroyed the Raiders. And how about that? After a few weeks ago being last place in the division, now they're leading the division, just like how they were last year. And it is true, the last 3 weeks, their defense has played a lot better, although their stats, as you show, do not look very good. Maybe the Chiefs are finally starting to recover their spark from last year. We'll see if they can keep that up, because they really need to in order to have any shot in the playoffs. So you know what? I'm going to pick the Chiefs to get this, even though the stats don't look good. I think the Cowboys will probably get their teeth kicked in, or who knows, maybe the Cowboys will kick the Chiefs' teeth in, and so that maybe the last, week or so, against the Raiders, was just a fluke. And then we get to a big matchup on Sunday night with wild card line on the AFC on the line, as the Steelers are at the Chargers for the first time since 2019. As the Steelers won the last one, the Chargers haven't beaten them since 2018, and haven't won at home since 2006. As the Steelers, I didn't know that Big Ben was going to miss the game due to COVID, because that happened right after I made my picks. So, but honestly, despite that, I don't think the results would have changed. I really don't think Ben would have won the game for the Steelers. He has not really played any much different than Mason Rudolph in that game too. So I think the Steelers would still tie, but that still sucks that they tied to the Lions. Come on, you still should have won that. That's pretty embarrassing to end their 4-game winning streak too, as they've now got to visit the Chargers, who lost a close one to the Vikings last week. Hey, after that 4-1 start, they've now lost 3 of their next 4. Not looking good there. Is on the verge of getting back to 500 since week 2. They really need this win badly. The Steelers need this win really badly. And you know what? This could be a tough one. I'm sure Big Ben's going to come back, because it was COVID. It was just a 1-week rest. I'm picking the Steelers for this one, as the Chargers always struggle when they host the Steelers. It's only when they're away at the Steelers when they usually do better. And then we get to Monday night, as the record may look bad, but there's still going to be a chance this could be good, as the Giants are at the Buccaneers for the first time since 2019. This is the 5th year in a row they've played each other in the regular season, as the Buccaneers won the last one. Giants haven't beaten them since 2019. The Buccaneers haven't won at home since 2017. As the Giants, I believe, were on their bye after they lost a close one to the Chiefs. Pretty unfortunate there. They should have maybe had a chance to win that one. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers, lost to the football team, as the team did not look really good, as they lost 2 in a row for the first time since last year. Not looking really good now in the wild card race. Division races, they're now 4th in the playoffs right now. They really need to get that momentum back up really quickly. And of course, you can't underestimate the Giants, because remember, they've played each other 5 straight times, and I kid you not, all of them went down to the wire. Look it up. All the games since 2017, these two went right down to the wire. So, and of course, the Buccaneers are struggling. So, do not underestimate the Giants to maybe pull off an upset. But I'm still going to pick the Buccaneers for this one. But like I said, don't underestimate the Giants. So, those are my Week 11 picks. I cannot wait for Patriots at Falcons tonight. So, my picks are Patriots over the Falcons, Eagles over the Saints, Dolphins over the Jets, Panthers over the football team, Bills over the Colts, Browns over the Lions, 49ers over the Jaguars, Titans over the Texans, Packers over the Ravens, Packers over the Vikings, Ravens over the Bears, Raiders over the Bengals, Seahawks over the Cardinals, Chiefs over the Cowboys, Steelers over the Chargers, and Buccaneers over the Giants. So see you guys next time for Week 12, and of course next week is Thanksgiving, so because of the early games for Thanksgiving, my picks will be on Wednesday instead. So see you guys then.